Hi everyone. So at this point in the course, I'm having you look at this handout on giving contextual information for quotations, or another way to talk about it is setting up the quotation more clearly. Because at this point, you know, we're getting close to the end of the course and you have a couple more papers left. And I want you to begin thinking about kind of upping your game in terms of how you incorporate quotations and set them up. So at the beginning of the course, we did the working with sources exercise where it reviewed just using simple signal phrases before quotations to indicate who the author was or where the quotation came from. And I expect you to continue doing that, but some of your quotations are just going to need more setup. You're going to have to explain a little bit more about what's going on in the quotation, what the author might be referring to in the quotation before you actually give it, so the reader is sort of prepared for what's coming. Okay. And so in the handout, I give you two examples. One shows a quote where there's little to almost no setup of the quotation, and the other shows sort of like a best practice where there's pretty thorough setup of the quotation and then so even some commentary after the quotation. So you want to lean towards the second one. So let's take a look at the handout real quick. So yeah, here we are, and you can see the first one, the first example at least indicates the author's name. So we at least kind of have an indication of who wrote this quotation. But the quote refers to kind of this study that the author did of the Fiji Islands, and that's not made real clear. But then if you look at the second example, there is a long, introductory section, okay? And this little part that's highlighted is language that leads like directly into the quotation and is tailored so that the grammar written by the writer here matches and transitions very smoothly into the quotation that was written by the author, Susan Bordeaux. So that's what you are shooting for. But I want to be careful to note that different quotations require different levels of setup and sort of effort put into clarifying the context of the quotation. It just depends on the quote. You as the writer have to decide what information the reader needs to understand what is being referred to in the quotation. And some quotes are simpler, and so it may be that all you need is a simple signal phrase, like in this case it would be like, according to Bordeaux, or Bordeaux explains, or whatever, right? But sometimes a quotation refers to a concept or an event or a person that would be really unclear to the reader, given that they haven't read whatever the source is. And so it's your responsibility as the writer to help the reader understand that quote by giving the appropriate context. But again, that's kind of up to you. There's no like single rule of how to do it every single time. It's just going to depend. So that's just something I want you to be thinking about in these last two papers as you're selecting and incorporating quotations into your writing. So I hope this was helpful.